In terms of taking an enterprise and making it cognitive, you've got to essentially focus on 4 different areas. One obviously is technology. What's the technology that you need to be able to do this? The other is data itself, because as we talk about cognitive systems and AI systems, you learn about training. So to the extent that you have data that you can use to accelerate the understanding that these systems possess, it makes it much more easier and much faster and much quicker. So the time to outcome is much shorter. Then there is the business process itself. Process is king. And so you have to eventually impact the process. So how do you do that? So there's a whole set of considerations around that. And then it's the transformation of the enterprise itself. So I've labeled it here as organizational considerations. They're as much organizational as cultural considerations. And moving even within the context of IBM, we were a middleware company, product middleware company. We're transitioning to a cloud cognitive company. So obviously, even our internal aspect reflects what we were and now where we want to go to. And there's a big cultural change when it comes to that, right? Product, middleware, different business units having their own silos, siloed data, used to making their own decisions. Now it's moving to a much more transparent, cognitive setup with Watson in the mix. So in a sense, the whole decision-making aspect is very different, because the decision makers are working with Watson, and you're not escalating as much. You're basically bringing it all together in the context of these cognitive systems. And so these 4 implications are critical, we feel, in terms of moving forward with this. So this is largely a conceptual slide, and it's by design for a couple of reasons. We know that looking at this slide itself, it'll give you an idea of what needs to be done, or what are the things to focus on. So for instance, in the case of technology, you need to have an open cloud type of environment to drive it. You also need to have accelerators to be able to do artificial intelligence and training and those kinds of things. When you go to organizational considerations, you really need to find ways to reinvest what you're doing today into the new world, because otherwise, you'd have to replace whole organizations, which would be very difficult and also very, very time-consuming. So certain key aspects are brought out in this slide.